Hello everyone. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. Well, I guess not really too much different. We're going to start a new Let's Play of one of my favorite games, Path of Exile. The new Synthesis League came out, and realistically there's only one version of the game you can ever play, and that's hardcore. But there was quite a bit of rework after... I don't know. It's more like Melee kind of had its time to shine, and now they've introduced so much spell casting, ES leech, that I think we're going to try something different. So we're going to make a trickster.
Born with quickness of body and sharpness of mind. How have you paid for these gifts? With innocent blood. Yours is a predatory profession, the business of butchery. You have stolen many a life to fill your purse. Now you will earn your redemption in Rayclast.
So this is it's going to be different. If you saw some of my other videos, I've probably mentioned that I'm not privy to listening to the story. But it's been probably about... What are we on? Version 3.6? It's been probably about 3.5 versions since I've paid attention to what's going on in the story. So... guess what? It's Path of Exile. It's story time. And let's see if this name is already taken. Ah, yes. Perfect. So let's just go ahead and fix this. Let's go ahead and disable chat. I'm not saying we won't need all of it, but it'll be... doing pretty well. Let's make sure this is going good. Oh, yeah, of course. So we'll just keep it nice and clean. So right now I have auto-equip on. For those of you who have never seen or played Path of Exile, this is your character screen, you get it with C. This is your inventory screen, you get it with I. Just kind of like Diablo 2, you have your main hand and your offhand sets. And then you have accessory slots, hat, chest, boots, gloves, belt, potions, and all that fun stuff. So the core mechanics revolve around kind of D3 or Diablo 2 requirements. You need enough intelligence to wear high intelligence gear. You need higher strength to use big two-handed weapons and big armor gear. And then, of course, dexterity is your evasion and kind of plays into accuracy, which... I don't know. You need a lot of it, but there's a lot of different mechanics that you can get to.
You and I, we're the only ones that made it to shore. Alive, anyway. Looks like you found something you can defend yourself with. Good. This place is crawling with criminals. There's smoke rising just east of here. Could be worth checking if there's...
Never gets old.
Is it
so
possible to murder someone who's already dead?
So the kind of like pre-story to this is the character select screen. You are on a boat and you are the exiled. They sent you to a small island in which plot relevant, and so you are fighting to get off the island. Be happy with the fact that this is as good as you're ever going to get. Who knows? But along the way, it's kind of like a prison. So you'll, in the first part, you'll encounter... Oh, of course. Let's go ahead and turn off game notifications. We can just enable all this later. It's fine. It's a lot of stuff. I could have played solo self fine, but I don't know. We're doing about the same. Yeah, we'll just turn all that. We'll keep League events and bestiary recipes up. And achievements, why not? So you'll find that a lot of the starting weapon, or starting gear, makes you look like you're wearing... So I don't have zoom in Open. Man, this is going great. Where's lock? Lock zoom. Lock zoom. I guess this is a good time to go through the UI. You can do things like always show sockets. Path of Exile prides itself on its loot system in the fact that it's so intuitive. You have a lot of information already displayed in terms of trade. Every item is not archived, but like indexed, so that you can search through trade without any issue and find pretty much live data at all times. It's quite insane how good it is. Before this all got into place, there didn't used to be item filters. So in an item filter, which I haven't updated yet, but I'm not too worried. As you start early on, like I have a very semi-strict. So at the start of the game, it's going to show me all of my loot icons, or all the like white loot that drops, all the scrolls. But as you get further on, you don't want. It's going to be literally loot explosions. So you're not going to want to waste too much time. I don't know, dicking around. Because realistically, you're searching for rares, and once you're at a pretty healthy point where you don't need rares or chaos recipe, that's selling one piece of each slot of gear over level 65, item level 65, I believe, gives you currency. And so there's no gold in this game. Everything that you purchase in this game is based 100% off of these currency items, and each currency item has an effect in the game. So for example, there's an orb called a transmute orb, and it allows you to turn a basic white item into a blue item. So a blue item can have up to 2 stats, consider it like magical quality. So you could have a little bit of life, you could have a little bit of resists, a little bit of movement speed, that kind of stuff, but you're not going to find super gear. So if you... Yeah. So as you slowly start to work up each different piece of currency... Oops, I sure hope that saved, which I can guess that it did not. Each piece of currency will do something different. So just for example, I picked up that transmute orb. So this will change your white item to a blue item. Even your scrolls of identifying is a currency. So you can't just buy more, you can only go out and find more. So for example, my loot filter will determine what is the priority of loot. So if you see here, this blue outlined one shows that all of the sockets are linked. And so if you look at the main weapon that I'm holding right now, I have a skill gem in it and a support gem to support it. So this is Viper Strike, so it converts some of my damage to chaos damage, and poisons on hit, which is just a small proportion of the actual hit as damage over time. And then this lesser poison support increases the chance by 40% to poison on hit, and adds just a tiny bit of chaos damage that scales with poison. I'm just going to pick up some of this junk to throw in the vendor.
You got the big bastard.
He's really happy that we killed Hillock, the guardian of the beach, the hobo of the seas. And so here we are, very first town. It's kind of everyone who's just kind of stuck on this island, who have decided to make the level 1 town their home. So you can do things like notice boards. Notice boards are pretty much where you go to start PvP, or find a party to get through. GGG is pretty lax about people's names, which is why I'm about to go back into the UI and make sure that all these things saved. Crap. I know mid talking about this I was going to change something. I guess since we're on the screen, level down scaling. So this allows you to play with other people without destroying their EXP gains. Once you get, I think it's at least 10 levels above your friend, EXP starts to dramatically decrease. So it's not shared I guess as well or as equal. So you can do this. You get downscaled, and it almost feels like it is a super penalty because when this mechanic first came out, we were dying just on like basic bosses that solo you wouldn't have a problem. Even solo at the appropriate level you wouldn't have a problem. But it feels like you're almost playing like 5 levels lower and 25% less than you would at that level. So kind of use that cautiously if you're new. What was I gonna do? Oh, that's right. I was gonna show zoom in. Which? Lock zoom in? Yeah. Lock zoom in. Zoom in. Yeah, I just 100% give up. Mouse wheel zoom. So, if you said level 1 equipment kind of makes you look like a dirty hobo. So we have our pot on our head. We have a bunch of scrap iron, which probably does us more damage than good. We have found some pieces of cloth to tape to our hands. And look at these fancy boots. So, are you glad that you got to see me in hobo gear? Good, because we're never going to look at it again. And in fact, I need to go back in and disable mouse wheel zoom, because I fat finger all the time. So, we'll just go ahead and... My character Stop Dying, you piece of garbage, is fantastic. We'll give herself some footprints, give herself some gloves, give herself, I don't know, blue eyes, firehead. Let's have a firefox. We'll have the black hole. And so, like, this is kind of how GGG makes their money. They sell you on MTX, so that's microtransactions, for basically just like cosmetic stuff. Like, you can affect your frame. If you play enough and you get far enough, if you dedicate enough time to this game, there's different rewards that you get that kind of improve everything. Well, not improve everything, but EPing is up 400% when you do it. Oh, of course it tells you when other people are doing well in the game, but it's everything else that you do in this game will have some sort of like cool effect. So like you get the bare basics of the initial skills, and that was probably like right when the game released. And then every point after that, you just get newer and cooler spells to use with different microtransactions. So we're gonna have blood on our weapon because why not? It's gonna look flaming because why not? I think we're ready to go. So let's get some of the story out of the way. We're not going to follow every story because, my god, they'll never stop.
Look out there, Shadow. Your murderous art is the reason you're here, in exile, and it'll be the one thing that sees you through to another dawn. I'm Nessa, and I suppose I should thank you for ridding us of that putrid giant. Back in Oriath, I feared your kind, condemned you from afar. In Rayclast, I don't have that luxury. God hasn't abandoned. Take care.
A sodden shadow staggered from the surf and surveyed the somber strand. That's the first line of the poem I'm writing about you, Exile. Easy, lad. You could poison a bloke with a look like that. The name's Bestel, captain of the good ship Merry Gull. Alas, my Merry Gull is gone. My crew is gone. But my wits remain, after a fashion.
He's gone insane.
Fine work with Hillock. Where'd you learn to fight like that? No, forget I asked. We exiles have no history. Dominus took it from us when he had his blackguards dump us in the water out there. Here, got something for you. Should help you kill a few more of those undead bastards. No, don't bother thanking me. The way I figure it, the longer we fighters live, the longer everyone lives.
So, when you do quests, when you do specific quests, you not only get gems, but you unlock a certain batch of gems while you level. So I guess up until maybe level, I think it's 40, you will only be able to select gems that are kind of tailor cut to your class. So because we are a shadow, and if we let me just pick something quick. We'll go with Frostblades. It's a pretty good starting weapon.
Farewell.
So if we look at are you ready for it? The passive tree. You can see that it's kind of just like one big circle. So what they do is they kind of focus everything into 3 main areas. There's the top third, which is intelligence. There is the bottom left third, which is strength, and the bottom right third, which is dexterity. So the more you venture into these areas, the more you get to focus on the type of equipment, the type of skills you want, but more importantly, the types of mechanics that you want to work with. So when you think dexterity, you don't think strong hits, you think crit. So if we think about the Shadow, his focus is intelligence, so maybe spells, and dexterity, so it'll be crit. So spells and crit. So if we look here, he has access to traps and mines, elemental damage, critical damage, critical strike chance. And a lot of these are very specifically worded. So if you see critical strike multiplier on attack, the on attack word will specifically mean that it doesn't apply to spells. And a lot of that will just kind of be up to your interpretation, and then you can pretty much verify it on the Path of Exile Wikipedia. But yeah, speaking of the Wikipedia, the reason why this game is so successful is its community support is just incredible. Not just the people who work with GGG. I mean, you can probably go on YouTube and find a bunch of streamers, or not even streamers. Oh yeah, you can find streamers. I think most of them are on Twitch, but then a lot of their other videos get uploaded to YouTube. So you have like Ziggy, you have Pox, Mathel. They're all really good. They all bring their different levels of, I don't know, excitement to what they do. But yeah, so when you see, for example, when we look at Frostblades, we can see that it's an attack, but it's a dexterity skill. So if it's green, we're going to see primarily green and blue gems when we level. We're definitely not going to see anything like Earthquake, Heavy Strike, any of the strong strength-related abilities. So now that we have the, crap out of the way, let's go ahead and get rid of this. We are going to take off Lesser Poison support, because while it is great, I don't think we need... I guess it doesn't really affect the mana cost that much. So, I'm basically dedicating most of this first episode to going through the mechanics, because after that, unless it's something new, I'm never touching it ever again. So you get a stash. When you first start, I believe you get 4 stash tabs, and then part of the microtransactions is you can have premium stashes, you can have regular stashes, you can have currency stashes. I've only bought a few. There's like big super stashes, but I have a map stash. I have a divination card. So when you get a stack of these, it's like collecting pieces of a relic, of a gamble for currency, all that fun stuff. And you can make it bigger, make it smaller, based on whatever you want. There's a ton of cards to get, so in no way are you ever not overwhelmed with the amount of loot that you can get in this game. And then just for, I don't know, clean inventory's sake, I have an essence tab. So essences in this game work essentially like alchemy orbs. We'll run into them later. I wonder if I can see the description. No, I cannot. So alchemy orbs will turn a white item into a yellow item, and yellow will have the base 2 magical prefixes no matter what. I guess, prefix affixes. And then you'll have up to 6 total effects. 3 prefixes, 3 affixes. And so if you're kind of just sitting there wondering why...
Down at the slaughterhouse. Yes, that's what this place smells like.
He's quite a character. Let's just say that. So I'm just gonna pick up a couple potions so that we have something to do. Oh well. By something to do, I mean I'm gonna try and avoid dying as much as possible because hardcore. We'll I probably won't stop at story. I think we'll get into maps. I'm gonna do a channeling build just because it looks like channeling got like the biggest change and probably, I don't know, might be the flavor of the league. Every league there's always something that just kind of like sticks out as like crazy, not crazy overpowered, but it's just less balanced than maybe they've led us on to believe. Like last league, they introduced something called Winter Orb, and at first nobody was really... No one was really impressed by how much it was too much, and then people figured out that you could use Winter Orb with Ice Spear, and it just incredible. People were just destroying the final bosses like it was nothing, and really the only downside that comes out of using skills like that, channeling anyways, is being stuck in place. But for the Synthesis League, there's a big emphasis on dropping the amount of mana cost, a big emphasis on giving casters the same kind of survivability as, not same kind, but a healthy boost of survivability. So this is Kvass. He is the Forgotten Spirit of the Synthesis League, and so I will let you hear the story.
Exile? Please, you must help me. I don't know where I am, or how I got here. I don't remember my name. I don't remember anything. I suppose, for now, you can call me Kvass. I don't know who I am, but I do know that this thing here is important, that there are answers inside. You look strong. Could you spare a moment to help an old man? Perhaps we can solve this mystery together.
No. So I'm usually pretty hesitant to go into these initial events. Usually because they're very...
I can see through your eyes. This place seems so familiar, yet there, that strange object is important, I'm sure of it. Oh dear, it seems your time here is limited.
Oh.
Make haste. I feel the world around us dissolving.
Oh my god. This is not good. So the trick is not to touch the blue, and you don't have to worry too much about picking stuff up because it'll pop out in the end. But I'm more worried about dying because we don't have very good potions, and we don't have very good equipment to not kite these people along. So we'll stabilize that memory, because otherwise I think we will fail horribly. And now to find the last one. Oh, that was it. I guess it was just the one. So, in the games, I don't know if it's a good way to describe it, from prior, I don't know what to call it, expansions, leagues, there are certain types of quality items. So for example, this is called a fractured item. There's fractured items, there are shaper items, which you'll learn about later on, and there is elder items. And so I won't spoil it too much. You'll get to see quite a bit. Well, whatever I don't spoil, I guess.
I think this was a memory of mine. It has been corrupted, but I indeed recall fragments. A sunny day at the beach when I was but a boy. I remember the warm sand between my toes. I chose a seashell to bring home. A happy day. But I do not remember taking the shell home. I do not remember home at all. So much is yet missing. Wait, I remember seeing another of these memories. Where was it? Oh, dear, I don't remember. I'll take this with me. I might remember if I take it with me. I hope we run into each other again soon.
Okay. So I'm assuming we are going to help this guy remember something.
Yes, of course.
I'm hoping he doesn't remember that he's the end boss of the game. But one can only hope. So this is just like, it's the starting area, so there's nothing too much to say. You get to enjoy the wonderful water, the reflection of the beach, and the fact that my game is running at, I don't know, at least 60 frames per second. So this is the first island. This is where we were going to find the medicine chest. There is a wonderful man named Elrake. Just kind of walking generally around so we can get a bit of life, or a bit more levels, so we can get a bit more tanky. But I won't daddle too long. It's not worth it. And it's just, yeah, if you've heard anything of Path of Exile, you'll understand that the developers went to like such long ends to make every single thing in this game, I don't know, a skill, interaction, something that you can work with. And if I can explain on that just a little bit. So we get to take the medicine chest back to Nessa. This is, of course, Bastile's boat that capsized. I think. I'm pretty sure I was paying attention to that quest and not just rambling on, hoping that maybe you will put the pieces together. But more importantly, the one thing that's going to help us speed up this game, this quest, will give us a wonderful Quicksilver potion, which will give us a 40% movement speed boost, which we direly need in order to properly kite. So yeah, this game was pretty much hyped as Diablo 2.5, and then once people kind of got familiar with what Diablo 3 was about, like, initial Diablo 3 wasn't bad by any means, but the itemization was just terrible, and at some point, I don't know how people don't put two and two together to think these things through, that in your loot grinding game there has to be a proper loot system. But yeah, as Diablo 3 kind of came back with Reaper of Souls, I would say, but this game has been out since Diablo 3 has been around, and I find that I've been playing it every single week compared to the nothing that has come up out of Diablo 3, and that's kind of sad. I think it's kind of like a change in the way Blizzard is working. But let's hear the story.
I'd almost stopped believing in miracles. This medicine chest, it's greater than the serums and salves it holds. It tells us that we can do more in Rayclass than merely suffer. I've not much to offer in return, but please, take something and thanks for what you've done.
Speed potion. Thank you. And so she'll give us a new set of gear, or I guess gems. And these gems are now requires level 4. So I don't know if we're going to take anything else except for... we're going to take an infused channeling support right off the bat, hoping that we can find the skill that we... Oh my god. Medicine chest.
So, you managed to salvage Shaky Hand's druggery. Nicely done. Nessa will put it to good use. More than that benumbed quack Optin ever did.
Got a job for you, if you're willing. There's a pool near the mudflats needs investigating. You'll smell it before you see it. Stinks like a carcass in high summer. But that's not the worst of it. Dead birds walking. Animals don't rise up again the same as people do here. So if they aren't raising themselves, what's doing it for them? The answer's in that fetid pool. Clear the place out and kill whatever's raising those rowers. We've got enough living dead to contend with already.
So we've just been given a quest to go to the fetid pool, which is just ahead of that first starting beach area. And so a lot of this will be just, I don't know, dedicating most of these episodes to doing a quest clear, like a full quest clear. So yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I can discuss. There's waypoint systems, so you can always warp, just like... I guess you can kind of warp the same in any of the old, like, Diablo games. And of course, once you start playing the game enough, you unlock things like hideouts, you unlock... So for example, this is a menagerie, and once we find the keeper of the menagerie, it'll become a lot more clear what its purpose holds. But yeah, as you get better in the game, as you clear more, you can basically create your own little town. And so if you look here, you know, I have basically just made a one-stop shop in this tiny little area to get everything done. Here's your crafting bench. As you progress further into the game, you get to discover more and more, I don't know, different types of crafts. So, it should be fun. I love this game. I wouldn't come back to it 3.6 releases later if I didn't love it and haven't been playing it since the beta. I've thrown a fair bit of money, not crazy amounts of money at this game, but I'm pretty sure I've bought this game at least 3 times over. So, thanks for watching, and in the next episode, let's clear that fetid pool and push on quite a bit further now that we've got, I don't know, a bit of the explanations out of the way. But, once again guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.